So as we all know, Carmelo Anthony has been the topic of several trade rumors for the last few weeks. The New York Knicks reportedly called the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Los Angeles Clippers, and the Boston Celtics over the course of the past few weeks to take stock of the Melo trade market. And the results were far from promising. If we're being honest, the odds are stacked heavily against a potential Anthony trade. Here are 5 reasons the Knicks star almost certainly won't be traded before the February 23rd NBA trade deadline. Well, first of all, his no trade clause is a bigger deal than you might think. People act as if Anthony will just waive his power over a trade for just any old deal, simply because the Knicks don't want him. At this point in his career, Anthony isn't just going to leave New York unless it's a very good reason. The list of destinations Anthony will accept are actually very, very short. In fact, it's probably just LA and Cleveland. And neither of those teams are in any position to make a real deal on Carmelo Anthony. I mean, if you think about it, the Cavs don't want to get rid of Kevin Love. I mean, he's been playing very good lately, and who else could the Cavs trade for Carmelo Anthony? It would have to be a deal including maybe Iman Shumpert, Tristan Thompson, J.R. Smith, or maybe even some of the younger guys like Jordan McRae or Kay Felder. Even then, these are some very valuable assets the Cavs really don't want to give up. As for the Clippers, they don't want to give up Blake, they don't want to give up DeAndre, and they definitely can't give up Chris Paul. So they would take a big hit to their depth if they wanted to acquire Carmelo, and for this reason, I don't think this trade is very likely. The next reason is that Carmelo just simply makes too much money. Remember, unless a team is under the cap, salaries more or less have to match in an NBA trade. Anthony makes just shy of $25 million this season. So the only way to send enough salary back to New York is either through a messy combinations of players or by including a star. This would create a major issue for both teams, as the squad receiving Carmelo would have to find replacements for the players. For example, the Clippers, if they were to trade Jamal Crawford, maybe even JJ Redick in a possible Melo trade, they would have to find players to fill those roles. In addition, the Knicks would have to cut players with guaranteed salary if they were to acquire too many players. Even if two sides agreed to the basic framework of a deal, the logistics of a trade might be too big of an obstacle. Next up, there's really no demand for his services. How many teams would actually improve if they added Anthony, especially if they have to give up a real asset in the trade? Bringing in a superstar like Carmelo Anthony will not only create big chemistry issues, it will also create big financial issues. The only teams that could really improve from Carmelo's services include the Houston Rockets, maybe the Lakers, maybe the Clippers, the Orlando Magic, and that's about it. There's a reason why the Cavs, Celtics, and Clippers haven't gotten into deep discussions in acquiring Carmelo Anthony. These are 3 teams that are very, very good, and bringing in Carmelo Anthony might create too many chemistry issues that they really don't need trying to win a championship. Next up, the Knicks' asking price is just way too high. NBA insider Chris Broussard said it best. The Knicks are just asking for way too much in return for Anthony. The Knicks have surrendered all of the leverage in the situation, and the entire NBA knows they want to move Anthony. But Carmelo is an aging superstar. He's not the player he once was, so what is Carmelo's value? What is his price? We really don't know, and as we've seen in the past, Cleveland doesn't want to get rid of Kevin Love. The Clippers don't want to get rid of any of their main assets, and the Celtics don't want to get rid of anything but their picks. So we don't know what Carmelo's true value really is, but it seems like the Knicks' asking price is just a little too high. And last up, the Knicks still have hope of adding a huge free agent. New York's cap situation this offseason is pretty complicated, but with the right financial finagling, the Knicks could create enough space to add a max free agent this summer. And if Phil Jackson can pull a few strings and make a real play for Chris Paul, there's a big possibility the Knicks could be championship contenders within the next season. Obviously, there's a lot of logistics that go into this possible deal. What's going to happen to Derrick Rose? What's going to happen to Brandon Jennings? Some of their more bench players. But it's definitely interesting to think about. The Knicks have the money, they've got the team, and they've got a great supporting cast in order to add a huge free agent. Should they put in their bid to lure CP3 to New York? Or should they just blow the roster up and trade Carmelo Anthony? This season though, things just aren't looking good, and I wouldn't expect Carmelo Anthony to move before the trade deadline. I mean, too many things would just have to fall in place, and there aren't many teams that can make a real solid offer for Carmelo Anthony. I mean, as I said earlier, the Cavs can give up Kevin Love. They, in my opinion, they can't give up guys like Tristan Thompson or Amon Shumpert, these guys that play such huge roles for this team. In addition, the Clippers have a solid core with Chris Paul, Blake, and DeAndre. It would be a huge loss to lose any of those three, and it would even be difficult to incorporate Carmelo into that big four. As for Boston, they've got the picks to do it, they've got the team to do it, but are they willing to bring in a big name guy like Carmelo Anthony who could possibly ruin the team chemistry? I mean, the Celtics have been playing great behind Isaiah Thomas's MVP-like performance, and I don't feel like Carmelo Anthony would be a great fit for that team. So what teams could really bring in Carmelo Anthony? That's the question. So that's going to do it for this video. Today I showed you guys why Carmelo Anthony won't be traded before the deadline. Let me know what you guys think about this topic. In my opinion, I just feel like it's too big of a deal to happen. It might happen over the summer, who knows, but in my opinion, it's not going to happen before the deadline. So that's going to do it for me. If you guys like these type of videos, be sure to subscribe, smash that like button if you enjoyed, and I'm out. Peace.